Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this TYS show, a very special show designed just for you, expats living in France, living in other countries. This special show is designed especially for you who are wanting to do business in France, who don't know how to do business in France because you're used to how it works in your country. In this show, we'll be talking about how to do business in France, the main difference between business in France and Ireland, but also the differences between France and China with our two very special guests, company owners doing now business in France for several years, but who are initially from China and from Ireland. As a reminder, the brand TYS is 3 shows. The TYS shows every Friday at 7 p.m. The TYS Lives, which are shows especially about business, about numbers, how to make money, how to find new clients, and also how to prospect on LinkedIn, but also just using your social medias. And also the TYS specials. The TYS specials are shows about music, about the arts, about paintings. The first 2 shows will be on the 7th and the 14th of October. The 7th of October from live from Marseille. The 14th of October live from Paris, which will be a French national dance contest. One very special news also for the brand TYS is the TYS Magazine. The TYS Magazine will be sent in 14 cities of France, 5,000 copies for each city. You have one example right here. This is the issue from July 2022, where you will be able to find some interviews for every guest who has ever been on one of the TYS shows. Don't hesitate to check on our website www.atnacparis.com to find if your city will receive the new magazine, TYS Magazine, but also to find the digital version of the TYS Magazine. We are going to start without further ado with our first guest, Mrs. Claire Delap, the CEO and owner of Take Monday. We are now with Claire Delap. Claire, hi.
Hello.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. So you are initially from Ireland,
Yes.
as I was saying. You have been now living in France for 5 years?
3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
And you created the company Take Monday.
Yes.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what your company does, what you created, and how you did it?
Yes. So I used to be a documentary and reality TV producer, which meant...
Can you talk a little bit closer to
yes.
the mic?
Comme ça, c'est mieux?
Yeah.
Okay. I used to be a TV presenter. Sorry. I used to be a TV producer making documentary and reality shows. And I was traveling a lot for work. And I always needed a special type of travel bag that would be well made, not too expensive, something you could use for packing your kit, packing the things you need to travel. And I was at a time when I was living in London, Brexit had just been voted, and I decided it would be better to start the business somewhere else than London. And I've always wanted to live in Paris, to live in France.
Yeah.
It's easy for us because we're all EU. And so I moved here and started Take Monday.
All right. So for our viewers to have an idea of what your bags look like, we're going to show a little video of what you do, what you created, basically.
Great.
All right. So here it is. So you came from Ireland to create this company in France. This is a French-based company, right?
Yes.
What do you find is the hardest, or how did you adapt to doing business in France?
Yeah, so the biggest barrier is the language. That's just easiest to start off with, because France is a country where a lot of people speak English, but very little administration is done in English. So starting a business, you basically need to have the language skills or to work with somebody who can help you with that. So my language skills were not good when I moved here, But I spoke to someone who worked in the French Chamber of Commerce in London.
Yeah.
And they've established an agency who can help businesses move to France. So they provide English-speaking accountants, lawyers, and just information on how to do it. She also was really helpful putting me in touch with other business owners here and giving me connections.
Nice.
So there is an infrastructure. It's just not as obvious as, say, the Netherlands or Ireland, where everything's going to be in English for you.
All right, because it's true that a lot of people, like, they look at France, how we do business here, and they might have an idea of a business, a company they might want to do in France, but they don't know how. First of all, and then they don't know who can help them, who they can talk to. What's the name of this infrastructure you were talking about?
I think it was called Start a Business in France.
Okay, and so they helped you to chat with French business owners?
Yeah, they helped me to basically the things you need most urgently when you're starting a business or moving a business are an accountant and legal advice. Because you need to get the business set up, you need to make sure that you're operating under the right title. Here it's a bit different than other countries. You can be a freelancer, you can be a micro-entrepreneur. So they put me in touch with accountants who are specialized bilingual, who can help with everything. Right. And that was the first thing, because establishing the business, getting the KBIZ, all of these things are impossible to do if you don't speak French.
Totally. And so you are in the business of goods? Basically, we're going to talk about events, how to create some events, especially in the music area, music business. We are going to welcome our next guest, Tristan Chen, the CEO of Carpe Diem Culture Company Limited. All right, we are now with Tristan. Tristan, welcome.
Thank you, Nassim, for inviting.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. So as I was saying, you are the CEO and owner of Carpe Diem Culture Company Limited, which is a Hong Kong-based company.
Well, we have two addresses, one in Hong Kong and the other is in Guangzhou, China, and was convenient for the Chinese market and also for the international market.
All right, so you've been doing some business in France.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you decided to do a little business here, and also what basically your company does and the events that you do?
Right. Well, I used to live in France and to study, and this is what I basically have the idea come from why I need to go back to France to have my inspiration and also for the market reason. And I used to study communication and also arts and culture management. But for a long period, I work in journalism and also fashion retail business. But this is always my passion and my dream to do something related to arts and culture. And that's why I created this company on my name, and under the name Carpe Diem, which is meaning seize the days in Latin. And so I for the past 3 years, I successfully launched the project about Italian Renaissance immersive exhibition in China, which gained a huge success. And from then on, I have the confidence to build a bridge between China and Europe and try to have some important IPs, like including Renaissance and also the other big artist IP to bring back to China. But at the same time, I created 2 pieces of theater shows, mainly contemporary dance, and we have one debut in Shanghai last year in Shanghai International Dance Center, and this year we got invited by a theater festival in North China. And now, since the summer is the theater season in South France, and that's why I come back to France to meet some local producers and companies and to see if any opportunity I can bring the works to Avignon. Yeah.
So you're going to go to the festival of Avignon?
Avignon, very soon, yeah.
So you've done business and especially events in China, in Shanghai. You've been invited to some events in France. What do you think is the most important difference that you see, or what maybe shocked you when you came to some events in France? Right. Do you find any very specific difference?
Right. I remember when I did my first music report in Temps Musical, and I think it's a very lively scene, and I think I think it's quite universal because no matter music or cinema or arts, and I think this is the interesting thing is without any language barrier, and you can easily build a bridge and connection with people, and at the same time, of course, the connection will bring you. I mean, will take you further to the future, like because I mean, with the internet and the planet becomes smaller and smaller, and I think the human touch and the connections are more important. So to answer your question, and I think the only difference probably will be the culture difference, for example, and in terms of art creation, and I think the censorship is the most essential and also the most sensitive topic. For example, when we produce something in China, according to the censorship, and there's some boundary or invisible limit, and we cannot really break through. However, when I try to bring the production to France, and that I think one of the advantages that I'll be encouraged to express what the artist or we the production try to bring out the message. I think this is the biggest difference. Otherwise, I think globally with arts and music and dance, I think almost the same. We can connect people together.
All right, so you were talking about censorship. In France, we have a lot of different debates about political correctness.
Right.
There are things that we were saying 10 years ago,
right,
so that we can't say now in France. Do you find that political correctness is very important in France? Do you find that it's a barrier in any ways?
I think, my personal opinion, politics should not be influenced by any form of arts. However, arts can eventually change politics in a positive way. I mean, I hope.
Yeah.
And that I think that is the connection between its two parties. For example, we are facing the crucial war between Ukraine and Russia, and I think, I mean, a lot of art institutes try to boycott Russian artists, and that brings me back to the post-war time, and the rest of the world trying to boycott German artists. I think the history just repeating itself, and it's just like we are facing a very crucial post-pandemic time. And I think it's already difficult enough for everybody to survive in no matter what business they are in, and I think the politics should be the last thing to influence arts, because artists should be born to be free to express himself or herself in free spirit, without any censorship consideration, and that's why, in my opinion, I think and arts should be the one who push the politics in a positive way and change to the world to be a better place.
Yeah. So China is a very specific case.
Yes.
Claire, you are initially from Ireland, but you lived in LA. You've lived in New York also.
And London.
London. Now you live in Paris.
Yeah.
What do you think of the business basically in Paris?
I mean, I've been really pleasantly surprised, because I was told by a lot of people that it's a hard place to do business in, because it's very traditional, very structured. And I think that's probably true if you have a traditional business, but there's a whole ecosystem of startups, and everybody is so friendly and so committed and passionate. And having worked in a co-working space, you just interact with people every day who are doing something of their own. And I've been just blown away by how much people support each other. People are interested in you. People are just trying to do something, even if they're afraid it's going to fail. There's a lot more of a kind of just living in the moment.
Yeah.
That's how it feels anyway.
All right. And so you talked earlier about the language barrier. In France, French people are not known for being good at English. Even my English is not that good. I hope everyone is understanding me. But like, did you find that French people were bad at English? Did you have a hard time? Same question for you, Tristan. Did you have a hard time finding good speaking French people?
Shall I start?
Sure.
I didn't find that French people were bad at English. I just found that people are happier to stay in French.
Yeah.
So when you go to countries, you know, which in Northern Europe, for example, as soon as they hear that you have an Anglo-Saxon Irish accent, they will try and speak to you in English. Whereas here, it's actually a good thing. They will stay in French often, even if at the start I was struggling a bit. They're not as willing to just move into English. And so the big difference then is in a business, in an office, all of our brainstorms, all of our meetings, having coffee, just kind of bumping into people, everything stays in French.
Yeah.
And I think if you worked in Amsterdam or somewhere else, that you would probably find that people would speak English to you more frequently.
All right. Tristan, what's your opinion on the topic?
I think it's quite normal. Imagine if you're doing business in China and no matter your working partners in China, how fluent the English is, but also always, appreciable if you can speak some Chinese. I think it's the same situation in France. I mean, if you really want to do business in France, and I think the first thing, as Claire said earlier, the first thing is to master the language. I think, and then if the language is in English, and that's perfect. But if you can speak French, that would be a plus, and to help things easier. I think in many ways. I mean, even your working language is English. But I think to me, since I was a student here, so I think I've been all through these difficulties and challenges, and that chapter for me was in past. And so if today, and I for example, if I go into festivals in different places in France, if I'm lucky enough to meet some people who can speak English to me, that's fine. But if not, I can totally no problem to communicate with them in French. I think, but that's why you're here. But otherwise, I mean, you can go to an English-speaking country and for business reason, right?
Yeah. But we're very lucky to be in Paris, because more French people are speaking English in Paris than in other regions. For example, I am from South France, and I noticed that a lot more people speak English in Paris than in South France. And I think a lot of other French cities also. But it's because we say in France that Paris is where business happens. It's where you have the most chances to find new clients and to make new business faster than in other cities. But also Paris is a city where the expat community is very developed, very present. Did you join any groups? Did you meet any new people from either your hometown, your home country? And how do you find those events for some people who might be watching us today and who are looking for some of those types of events? Claire, let's start with you.
Yeah, so being Irish has an advantage because it's such a small country. It means that wherever you go, somebody will know somebody who lives there, and they will always make the introduction. So I was introduced already to a few Irish people, but then the other great facility here is the Irish Cultural Centre, which is in the 5th arrondissement. And in fact, it's an incredible historic building. They have events all the time. They have events from my university.
Nice.
And I've met lots of people through that. And the other thing is, a friend of mine runs a running club, which is for expats. It's called Kin. I've never actually run because it's kind of early in the morning. But through her, I've met lots of people who know lots of people, and they're always meeting for coffee or organizing dinners. And so there's either you can try the kind of more structured events, or you can just find little groups, little bubbles like that will just start to open doors.
Tristan, did you join any groups of expats?
I think the most exciting thing about Paris is, I mean, the connections are everywhere, and like that's why I was here today because like 3 days ago, a Chinese friend mentioned to me that, okay, can you participate in a production show and talk about business? Why not? I mean, I think that just like all the big cities and great cities in the world, and I think the people are well connected in the big cities, like with a very culture vivid environment, and I think that's how you meet people and have more chance to do business, and I think that's why I'm here.
So we were talking also about the arts.
Right.
There are a lot of different groups, artistic groups, theater productions in Paris. Did you use the arts to get close to some other groups, to meet new people here?
For the moment, I haven't had the chance to present my work in Paris yet. However, I do know people who work in different art institutes like Sotheby's and Christie's and other museums in Paris. So I think I get the chance to meet up with these old friends and people I used to know, and then I mean the longer I stay, I'll have more chances to go to some exhibition openings and art fairs and to meet more people who related to my field. And I think the thing is you need to go out.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Like after the COVID time, and I mean during the difficult time, it would be really difficult to only connect it by internet or social networking. I don't think this is the solution. I think art is something you really need to see and hear and touch by yourself.
That the good thing about Paris is like you don't need to go very far to meet some
Exactly.
people from other countries.
Exactly.
You're in the metro, you're in the RER, a very French thing, in the RER, and you hear a lot of different languages. You hear some people
True.
talking
Yeah.
Portuguese, Chinese,
True.
Vietnamese, English, or Italian, whatever the language, and you just have to begin the conversation. They're not French, so you can start a conversation in the metro without very much trouble.
I think for the students, the most amazing
especially
program
for-
is the Erasmus, and you can meet people basically from everywhere
Yeah.
in Europe, and that's the fastest way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For young people, there are a lot of different things that we can do. We're gonna move on to our new segment called the TYS Focus. The TYS Focus, it's simple, one rule, one question, and our guests answer the question, especially for you, to give you the answers you might need. Right away, the TYS Focus. All right, back for the TYS Focus. Only one question for our guests. One question that will be able to help you doing business in France if you want to, doing business, especially in Paris. The question is the following: what advice would you give to a new expat arriving in Paris? Claire, Tristan, who wants to start?
I can start if you want.
All right.
Yeah, so the best thing I did was to join a co-working space. Because when I moved here, I was working from home in my apartment. And obviously, in any country, that's always going to be isolating.
Yeah.
But here, I needed to meet people, make friends, and learn how to speak French. So I went and found somewhere. I didn't go to a WeWork because I knew that actually most people would speak English there. And I specifically chose one where there was lots of events and there was a community and lots of support. And through that, I went to lots of apéro and learned how to speak French, learned how to pitch the business, and it became such an important part of my business and gave me an ecosystem to meet other people, but also to have people to talk to bounce ideas with, and yeah, it saved my life.
Can you tell us the name of this co-working?
Well, the new one is Green Space,
Yeah.
and the original one was Remix,
All right.
and both of them are incredible, really great.
We had on a previous show the owner and founder of Green Space, and also the managing director of Green Space. If you want to know more about Green Space, this co-working space is in the 11th district of Paris. Don't hesitate to check our YouTube channel and also to subscribe. Tristan, your answer.
My advice is to get a cinema card, and that is cheap, affordable, and then you can access to all different kind of independent cinemas and or big cinemas in Paris. That's how you learn the language and understand the culture, and to immediately improve your language and get to know the center of the culture center of Paris.
When you went to see some movies, did you went to see them in French with subtitles, or only French and no subtitles?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, and I think the most amazing thing about Paris is like since a capital of cinephile, and not only was some Hollywood box office busters,
Yeah.
and at the same time you can join a lot of different independent cinema festivals. Like the last weekend, I watched a lot of small production films in Quartier Latin, which is, I think this is the biggest advantage in Paris you cannot enjoy elsewhere.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, so you've been both in Paris for quite some years. You've had chances to meet new people, to meet French people, Irish people, people from all around the world. How did you find your first client in France, and how was your first event in this country? Tristan, let's start with you.
My first event, or your first client, you mean?
Both.
Well, I used to be the client, and my first business trip here to, actually as a client, I work with a French production company, and to do some fashion shooting. And so is it, I'm not sure it is a good pitch, but a good approach, but my experience is to respect the rules. I think in different fields or different business or in different countries, there are different rules and regulations, and my advice is to respect the rules, and when is a coffee time is a coffee time. When is a overtime working is overtime working. I think of course at the end of the day, each business have their own global rules. Like in fashion business, we all understand that sometimes in order to catch some magic hour or some perfect lighting, we have to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning, or we end up very, very late because the model or the actor would not cooperate very well. So in that case, you cannot really accuse people for not working under like 8 working hours per day, something like that. So I think my advice to respect the rule, and to know the local team and how to work with them in their own rhythm to achieve the best goal. And that's my experience. But of course, as a agency, and to, I mean, luckily for me, I don't have to pitch any client. And I think when you have a good product or brand, and if you have a good reputation, people will come to you. And of course, it is easy to say that. But the thing is, you need to get out of your comfort zone, and to see the opportunity by yourself. And sometimes you need to create the opportunity for yourself. Even there's a lot of risk or unpredictable damage, but it's like, if you never take mistake, you never get to earn something. So that's my experience.
Right. So, for example, for Tech Monday, you are in the business of goods. You are selling bags, which are very useful because it's especially made for travelers, for people traveling all around, basically. Did your client come to you at the beginning, or did you have to pitch your company, to pitch in your business, your bags, and very much get people into what you were doing?
Yeah, that was such a huge step for me, because my background was not in fashion or accessories at all. And so the first thing I did was a trade show. And because we're in Paris, there are just so many options of the best trade shows in the world. People travel here, like Maison Objet, And so I did a smaller one, a boutique one called Man Woman. And my bags had arrived 1 week before, so I was just getting to know how they felt myself. And I remember thinking, oh my God, it's so expensive, the trade show. But they ended up giving me a discount because I was just such a new business. And I was so scared when the buyers were coming, like important people who work in fashion. And I had like curled my hair. And then my first actual French buyer was Le Bon Marché, which is a department store here. So I really had to learn to run before I could crawl. It was just about putting myself out there and faking it till I made it, basically.
That's what we say in English, fake it till you make it.
Always.
And it worked for you. It worked for you.
Bravo.
What would you say to someone, for example, who is at this stage of your life, just arrived to Paris, creating a new company in your business, trying to pitch its company, its product, its service, and who is feeling very stressed, very much afraid, but who don't have that mentality of fake it till make it, or go further and always go after what you want? What would you say to this person?
Well, I would say just don't try and please everyone, because there's going to be a lot of people who don't like your product or don't get your product or think the price is wrong or they would never buy it. So you'll get a lot of feedback from people saying, I don't get it, I don't like it. And that's fine, because that, not everyone is going to like it. So instead of trying to please everyone by saying, oh, my product is this and this, just choose the one thing that you love about it and just keep promoting that. So for me, it's that the styles are all unisex and you can use each one in 10 different ways. So rather than trying to be the most haut de gamme or the most handmade, beautiful leather, they're not that. And so when people come and ask me, oh, why didn't you make it in France? Which I get asked a lot because it's a Parisian business. But I have to say, because if I made it in France, then I would have to sell them for €300. And that doesn't work for the brand. It's not who I want to be. So I think just like knowing exactly what you like about your own product and just not worrying if some people don't understand it.
Exactly. And Tristan, you were doing school in France, in Paris.
Yeah.
Did you initially come to Paris for school, or with an ulterior motive, and you wanted to do business also here?
Well, when I came to Paris to study, I didn't think that much about what I'm going to do in the future, because the future like change every not a decade, every 3 years. So I think I just follow my heart to do whatever I have passion for. So I think in my career path I changed different things from journalist, writer to fashion marketer, and then now trying to be a creative director or producer for art shows. So and I think everything is possible so long as you open your mind and you can see a lot of energy will come back to you. And then of course it's not like you don't have to learn. I'm learning every new things every day, and I think but that will push my limit to go further, and I'm just not afraid of stepping out from my comfort zone again. So I think for me, and Paris is like the opportunity and challenge exists at the same time, and what you need to do is to really dare to do what you're trying to do, and I think eventually you achieve something, not necessarily being a big success, but at least you realize some project you really want to achieve.
The main thing being keeping the mentality, the mindset, and being set on your goal, and very much be conscious about what you really want, and don't let anything stop you, or make you. Don't let anything stop you.
And don't compare yourself to anybody else.
Exactly.
Just compare yourself to yourself.
To your past,
Because you've always come a little bit further.
Yeah.
So it works better.
That's a good thing that you're saying, because like I was chatting with a client like 2 days ago, I think, and he's very much into personal development and how to keep your mind set on your goal and doing what you do. And he told me one thing, and that got me to thinking that we always say, like, for example, Steve Jobs created Apple, Jeff Bezos created Amazon. It's now a big success, are the most successful people on earth, basically, with Elon Musk. And but we don't say that they had a good amount of money at the beginning, and we always try to copy what they do, to do exactly the same thing. And we think that because it worked for them, it's going to work for us. It doesn't work like that. If it worked for them, it's because they have the good mindset. They know what they want. They are set on their goal, and they are not going to change what they want to do and their vision. And so you can do exactly what Jeff Bezos is doing, but it won't work for you because you don't have the same mindset, basically. So what do you think about when you do business, when you meet new people? Do you think about, like, I have to do this and this and this, or do you just go with the flow?
When I used to be a retail marketer in some enterprises, small or big, and I always try to convince my boss, my employer, that if there's easy path like copy paste, you don't need me here.
Yeah.
Because you can do the copy paste by yourself. The reason why I'm employed, why I was chosen, because I have something different from the others, at which I believe I can lead this project to another direction or path, which will lead to to achieve our business goal, or in whatever with whatever motivation is. But the thing is, sometimes people are just afraid of making decision because they afraid the failure, and I think, but that's why in the business world we're always trying to estimate the chance and the loss, and I think which, if we prepare the worst scenario, we can accept, and then we can go for the better hope that we can do another solution to achieve the goal. And I think recently I helped a startup brand to develop a new business, like a lab diamond, and which is completely different from what I've been doing before.
Yeah.
But what I learned from the past months is that lab diamond is super new. It's like in the past 3 or maximum 5 years, and we know that Leonardo DiCaprio, he even himself invented one, and is only you can see in some red carpet celebrities, and which is a huge potential market from the data, and I think China could be a huge experimental market to do the testing, because in the Western business world is already kind of established, and but the lab diamond is still true diamond. It's not fake diamond, and that's why. But we need to invest time to educate the consumer and educate the market, and this is the difference between a brand building or just have a fast marketing tactics, and which is very different. So I have to use a lot of time and energy and knowledge to educate my investor, which is super young, like 10 or even 15 years younger than me. I have to educate them like why we are doing this, and if you believe in this business model, and you have to take a lot of time to nourish the brand from 0 to 1, and this is important for us to grow with the brand together. If you don't have this belief, don't do it. You just invest something else.
Yeah.
So this is my experience and lesson for everyone who trying to start a new business, because and it's not enough you only study some data to see, oh, this is gonna be work. And I think if it's that easy, and I think everybody just can become millionaire overnight. I think the reason why Steve Jobs or the other big entrepreneurs cannot be copied, because they have their own belief that when I do something, I will be eventually change something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe this, you just invest something else that's easy to get money instead of create a new brand or new product. I think that's waste time and
Waste of
money.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Claire, what is your state of mind in business?
Yeah, I think that I mean, I've only been a businesswoman for 3 years, so I don't know that much yet. But something I found really important is just to know what your own goals are, because you get so much advice from people all the time, which is amazing, and it's part of being part of the entrepreneur ecosystem. But people will often kind of try and guide you to do something because it worked well for them or because a lot of other similar brands are doing it. For example, I constantly get told by people, you need to be putting out reels, putting out Instagram lives, filming yourself. But I also know that my marketing channels are working well at the moment, and they don't require as much input from me and my personal time and my business time as necessarily filming reels all day, every day. And so although that is the trend, I don't have a TikTok yet.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the best thing possible is to have as much presence as possible. But I know that that's not actually going to get me the results that I need that month or that week. And because you get prospected a lot, so getting into influencer marketing, for example, is something that I had to try a bit to figure out that it didn't really work for my brand. But people think it's crazy that I don't really touch it anymore because it just doesn't really work for us. And it's not something that I want to put more my energy into. And I think if you just know what you need to achieve and what your perfect return on ad spend or something like that is, then you won't get pivoted too easily when people try and offer you advice.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
It's exactly that. This show is coming to an end. I would like to thank Tristan Chen and Claire
Thank you.
Delap for accepting our invitation to this very new show. It is especially designed for you, for expats, but also for French people who understand English and who want to know how it is for those people, for people who are not from France and who wants to create business here, who have the entrepreneurial spirit. As Claire said, you only gotta find one thing. You're gonna find what your goal is and also find what will be working for you. What is working for someone might not be what will be working for you. What works for Claire is not what will be working for Tristan, and it's the same all around this table.
Yeah.
You just gotta be set on your goal, on what you wanna do. Take as much intel as you can. This is why we created this show, to be able to give you testimonies from those two entrepreneurs right here. You will be having also their contact infos on every one of our videos. It will be also on our website. If you are interested by the bags from Claire Delap, Take Monday Paris, don't hesitate to contact us or to contact directly her company. If you want intel on the company of Tristan, don't hesitate also to call him and to do what you want to do, basically. We hope that this show was good for you. We hope that you learned some stuff. Thank you again to you, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you,
to
Nassim.
you, Tristan. And we'll see you next week with a very special show about how to feel better in your body, what product to use, and basically what state of mind adopt for either your personal life or your professional life. Don't hesitate also to check on our website www.atnacparis.com for our new magazine every month in 14 cities of France. Thank you very much and see you soon.